Welcome to my show. I'm a guest here. His name is Saro Varjabedian. Mr. Saro, how are you doing, sir?
Hi, great. Thank you for having me. I I'm so excited, really.
And also, Mr. Saro, I want to thank you for the time and the opportunity, Mr. Saro. Firstly, you are an author. You are also a filmmaker and a spiritual thinker. Can you please, Mr. Saro, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mr. Saro?
Yeah, I've worked for most of my career as a filmmaker, primarily as a cinematographer, and I've dabbled in writing, directing, producing. I like it all. I love the whole filmmaking process. And that's something I still love to do and will continue to do. But as a writer, I mean, I've written scripts before, but this is my first time writing a book. So, Tim and Robot, A Spiritual Agnostic's Guidance to a Newly Formed Consciousness is my first book, my first attempt at writing. And so this is very new for me and a little scary as I enter uncharted territory, which I think is also good. It's good to do as an artist. And in terms of the spirituality, I spent a lot of time working on that in my 20s. A great deal of time studying Buddhism, Taoism, and Kung Fu. And then in my 30s, I kind of got focused on career and getting married and family life and trying to do the normal things you do in your 30s. And I put a lot of that to the side a little bit. Not that I totally lost touch, but I was just more focused with uh, more practical things, let's say. And in my 40s, I sort of turned back to it, and partly as a result of COVID. I mean, COVID was a very strange period for everyone. And so you can do with that time during that period what you choose. And I chose to use it as a time of a lot of reflection. And so um, that's sort of how Tim and Robot got born, how I decided to write the book. Not that I think of myself as an expert in anything really, but I thought maybe this is where I'm at currently right now. I'm 46 years old. When I wrote Tim and Robot, I was 45. This is the few pearls of wisdoms I've gleaned, and if I can just create something fun and entertaining for people to think about some of these topics and get them started on their own journey of discovery, that's all. That's what I would love to accomplish.
Creativity on its own way is very powerful, and what you do is very connected with creativity. And I do agree with you. It is not easy to write a book, and taking the time. I do remember during the time of COVID how tough it is. And taking the time to write a book, which is Team and Robots, is very, very awesome on its own way. And also with the kind of spiritual thinking, during your early 20s, you were more spiritual. Now you are 30s, it was different. Then the 40s, now it's different. So it's like a phase in life, which I'm so much glad that you actually dedicate yourself to actually bring out something like the book called Team and Robots. Can you please, from the bottom of your heart, Mr. Saro, discuss more on the book? And do you also plan to write more books in the coming future, Mr. Saro?
Thank you, thank you. So I plan to, well, to tell you a little bit about what the book is. What I'm an agnostic. I'm a devout agnostic. Like I'm a firm agnostic in every sense, right? Which sounds funny. I mean, usually people laugh when I say I'm a devout agnostic because it's like, doesn't that just mean you believe in nothing? And it's like, no, no, actually, I really think that, or from my experience, I feel pretty confident that there's just a lot we don't know, even today, even with what we're discovering scientifically and everything. I think most of us really don't know as much as we think we do. And so, why I say I'm devoutly agnostic is I want to truly understand the things I think are true. And so, I'm not going to claim truth if I don't really have solid data and evidence to support it, right? And so I don't see agnosticism just in terms of religion. I see it in all facets of life. I see it as, does our political system work? Does capitalism work? Where else can we apply just a deep curiosity and reflection in our lives? So that's what I try to do in Tim and Robot. And one more thing about agnosticism, I think people when they hear an agnostic, they think it's a cop out. Like you don't want to think about the hard questions, so you're just saying you're agnostic, so you don't have to take a stance, right? You don't take a stance. And what I wanted to do is to actually offer agnosticism as a something that people can actually grab onto and hold onto and use in their lives. And so that was the intent behind Tim and Robot. And why I say I'm a spiritual agnostic is that I'm not. I, it's how I think about
Mm,
spirituality, and I view it as like, can science actually inform us about ourselves and the world, and maybe even eventually, as science continues to evolve and develop, explain some of the things that occur on a spiritual level.
mm,
And so that's sort of the premise of the book is how do I ground spirituality in a more physical process than something like, you know, mystical. I want to get away from mysticism. I mean, I think there's a lot of beautiful and magical and amazing things about nature and science on its own that I don't think we need to look at it as something as magic. So Tim and Robot, and then the other attempt was to make it fun and engaging because the topics are very big, topics of morality and ethics. And by the way, I'm sorry, stop me at any point if there's a car or something that passes by. Um, but so, and I also thought, what better way than to explore what we think we know in, as a species, as humans, by having someone outside of us, a robot that becomes alive, ask us questions about why we do the things we do. And so that is the whole premise of the book. It's this quasi nonfiction, quasi fiction. So, and basically, there's this fictional scenario. A scientist in the near future creates a robot that becomes alive and is aware. And the robot has questions for its creator. And those questions are on feelings. Why do you have those feelings? And what is my purpose, and what is the spirit, what does spirit mean, and so is there a god? So the robot has these questions for its creator, and the creator, in my voice, and this is the non-fictional part,
mm.
does his best to answer these questions, and the scientist draws on science, and he draws on history, and he draws on current events, and he draws on the nonfiction part is my own experiences. So I do talk quite a bit about the things that I've lived through and the lessons I've learned from them. And so that's the book. It's a big book. It's like 380 pages. But hopefully it's fun. And I would love to make these topics fun for people. So that they can enjoy exploring and learning.
And I'm so glad you had the opportunity to bring out this beautiful book because majority of the things that we know when it comes to spiritual being, we are not taught in school, we are not taught in the university. So it's something that we need to learn ourselves. And that is why I like what you've done. I even like when you said scientists to try their best to even give us this spiritual sense of power to make us understand better because we only understand the physical part, but there's something within. There is a spiritual being within, and there are things that we can do as a way of life that will help us develop ourselves, give a sense of strength, and also develop us to become more stronger and more fulfilled in the life of
Yeah,
ourselves. And that is the beauty of the conversation we are having today,
yeah,
um, Mr. Mr. Saro. And I would like to drive to the point of morality. there are big questions about morality, Mr. Saro, and meaning can
Mhm.
sometimes feel heavy or
Mhm.
intimidating. How
Mhm.
do you think humor and curiosity make this conversation more accessible for listeners, Mr. Saro?
These are big questions because they can be complex, right? And you know, when it comes to morality and ethics, I actually think it's a lot easier than we make it out to be. But of course, we can get things wrong because we're human. We don't know everything, and so we're going to make mistakes. But the intent, it has to be not to do harm, right? So to me, I define morality and ethics very simple. If you've experienced pain and you have some empathy, then you're not going to want to wish pain on others.
Mm,
It's actually very simple. So as long as you're empathetic and compassionate, then the morality should just be as simple as, how do I not cause anyone else pain? How do I live through life? Of course, we all must pursue our happiness,
mm,
but in doing so, is there a way to pursue your happiness in which you don't hurt others and maybe uplift people, right? So, so if that's morality, and but I do in the book cover some bigger topics, very big. Let's say I talk about like global warming, and how do we get to truth and understanding when there's so many uh, you know, different voices and different positions. How do we come to truth? Or um, I talk about, in terms of morality and ethics, I talk about capitalism and let's say corporate ethics, and what are we, you know, what is our role and responsibility as citizens and humans to each other, right? So those are big and daunting topics, but I think you can make it fun, because I don't know, I think learning is fun.
yeah.
And if you're talking about growth, I mean, how are you going to grow if you're not learning? You kind of need to learn to grow. So, but that was my intent with the book, to make it as light and fun and playful as possible. And so, like, there's moments of playfulness throughout it, because I really do want people to enjoy learning. That's key.
We have to learn. So far, we're alive. We have to be in a position whereby we continue to learn, we continue to develop. And I love what you said earlier. When we face pain, I do not want my colleagues to also face pain. We want to be in a position whereby we let them know that this caused pain. You can do this better. And those are the kind of morality that we can help in ourselves. I would like to dive to the point of culture or religion, Mr. Saro. Morality also often feels dedicated by
Yeah.
culture or religion,
Yeah.
Mr. Saro. How do you think someone can begin to create their own ethical compass that still guides them with integrity, Mr. Saro?
Yeah. So, sorry, I'm looking at some of my notes here. I think I think it is true that morality is dedicated or dictated by culture and religion, typically. But and by the way, I think turning to religion for insight is also a good thing. I'm not as agnostic opposed to that. Um, I mean, I grew up as a Christian first. I mean, I was raised
Yes.
Christian. So, I still take those some Christian ideas. I don't take it all. I take the things that still make sense to me today. I'm sorry. For instance, I love the idea of Jesus Christ saying, "Do unto others as you would do unto yourself." I love that. It's very simple, and it makes a lot of sense, and it makes sense today. It made sense 2,000 years ago, and it still makes sense today. And so we don't have to throw out all of the religions just because maybe there are aspects that don't quite make sense. I particularly talk about like the magical elements. I don't think we need the magical elements. When I think about Jesus Christ, I don't need him to be reborn again. I don't need him to walk on water. I don't need him to turn, water into wine. I actually think it would be so much more powerful to think of Jesus Christ as a human that cared about other humans and just wanted to teach an idea and do good in the world, and was willing to die to do that. I mean, that makes it way more powerful than if he was a god who could come back to life. And I know I'm oversimplifying it, and I don't mean to make fun of anyone's beliefs or religions, but because no, I do think we need to take what was passed down to us and learn from the lessons our predecessors had learned, and then reassess what makes sense today based on our current knowledge. And so I think in terms of getting back to your question on how can someone create their own ethical compass outside of, let's say, culture and religion, well, there's a few ways. I think start reading and learning from different fields, philosophy, science, psychology, right? And so expand what you know, and then take the lessons you learn in your life and your life experiences, and then try to come to your own truth. But I think you will, again, if you have empathy, you'll come back to that idea that you've experienced pain and you don't want others, or you wouldn't want others to experience or go through what you have. And so I think if you're just careful in moving through the world and trying to cause the least amount of damage, and you'll already do good. And one more thing, I'll say that in the book, I do turn to science and nature as maybe some guidance, because as we learn more about the laws of the universe and the laws that dictate life and nature, you maybe it can inform us on how we should behave, right? Like, for instance, I think we take for granted that we exist. The fact that we exist is really miraculous. It could have gone wrong many, many ways. Over the millions and million years, things could have gone wrong. A meteor may not have, if a meteor didn't hit the Earth and the dinosaurs weren't wiped out, I mean, we wouldn't be here. Maybe we'd be here and we would be just dinosaurs talking to each other. I don't know. Life could have gone. And also, I mean, nothing says, if you look at the universe, nothing says that life could go from simple to complex like it has. So it doesn't have, things didn't have to occur this way. So when you really take in the fact that it's remarkable that we're here right now, then you can then maybe say, well, maybe I should do what I can to make sure life continues on beyond me. And so you might look at your actions more carefully, and how you try to set up the next generations for success, and not just think about your own fulfillment and desires, right? I mean, it's important, but can you do both? There might be a way. There's a way. If you work really hard, there's a way to do both.
And this is absolutely true. And I totally agree with everything you've said earlier, Mr. Saro. And what I love from what you said, one of the things I loved was from our ancestors and people who have left us, we should learn something positive from them. Because this world that we are into, we are being grateful for it. Because what if, as you said earlier, dinosaurs or anything has happened by the way, and we weren't able to come into existence? We should be grateful, and other things that we've done, as you said, if we feel pain, we will not want other people to also feel the pain. And we'll always continue to show care and support to one another in the life we find ourselves. Also, Mr. Saro, I would like to drive to the point of going back to your book, Team and Robots. I know you drive and you spoke about a lot of things regarding the book, how it helps people, and also what people need to could learn and also improve day by day in their life. You also try your best to distribute 10% of your net proceed of your book to charitable programs. For someone to do such or make such action, there is something that happened. There is something that triggered it. There is something that was seen, and there is something that motivated that action. Can you please drive us through that, Mr. Saro?
Yeah, yeah. So, um, I self-published the book, um, primarily for this reason. I mean, I did other reasons. I didn't want to wait, right? Like when you publish, they'll take another year, and you're in a queue, and for all that. But I I wrote this with the intent of giving back. That's my goal. And if I'm asking others to be good to each other and try to set us up, set humanity up for, and the next generations up for a better life and a better world, then I can't ask that if I'm not also doing that. Like, I need to be about that. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, the way I look at this book is I don't I don't care if it's successful or not. This is me doing what I can, however I can, however effective or ineffective. I just need to try, right? And so yes, if there's money to be made in the book, then I'm going to donate 10% of it. Not just donate, but also reinvest. So I'm going to do two things. 5% will be donated to carbon capture, let's say regreening and plastic removal. And then the other 5% will be invested into, uh, let's say, oh, I forgot the term right now, but renewable energies and future technologies. I'm thinking, let's say, quantum computing, things that will, or medical advancements, things that will uplift humanity and society. And so, yeah, my intent behind that is that I want to make sure we're setting up the next generations for a better life and to do better than we have. I mean, if that's not the purpose of life, I don't know what is.
That is the joy, Mr. Saro. No matter where we get to in life, no matter where we've gotten to on earth, we should continue to remember that humanity matters a lot. Our surrounding, the people who are behind us, the people who are really facing the depths of the world they find themselves, we should really care about them. And you've done the part of it. And it's something of a willing. I love people who have the sense of willing. It could work out, it could not work out, but I will try my best. There is nothing more beautiful than that. The
Yeah.
only thing that we will regret is not trying, but we
Yeah.
tried. And that is the
Right.
beauty. Continue to keep
Right.
trying, we continue to keep pushing, and continue to hope. Let's see what happens. And let's see what goes by the way. And that is the
Yeah.
beauty. And that is the professional. And I'm so glad that you decided to use some of the fund to help people. So the renewable and other areas that will help the earth in a huge way is something that is very, very inspiring, to be honest with you. Shows how humble you are and how dedicated as a person who has done a lot and who wants to give back to the society. There is also a question I normally ask during the end of the show, Mr. Saro. From our forefathers, from our ancestors, there are a lot of beautiful things that do exist during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mr. Saro, what do you think that thing will be, Mr. Saro?
Yeah, that's a great question. I miss that we don't talk about honor and duty as much. These words seem to be missing in today's culture. And I think we need to bring those concepts back. Like what how do you conduct yourself in the world so that you bring yourself honor? And what is your duty as a citizen, as a fellow human to each other? And yeah, we need to be thinking about that. And uplifting that as values we should hold on to, as things, yeah, as things we should look up to, as opposed to success. I mean, so much is focused on success, and I think we need to start focusing how we value someone based on how they conduct themselves honorably and with duty.
True. We need to start to slow down and see what is going on in the society. We do know that everything is being busy now, but we'll slow down and we'll see how we can also impact one thing or the other. Those are the things that our forefathers, our ancestors did well. They did it perfectly well and they've handed over the baton to us. And we that they hand over the baton to, there is technology. They didn't have it then. There is everything now that is being really, really huge on us currently. We need to use it well and try our best to give the sense of humanity and community. It really help us. It really, really help us. And I also want to use this. Okay,
Oh, I just want to add one more thing. Something else came to mind. And I think that the Native Americans had this really wonderful idea about respecting nature and being in balance with nature. And I think we need to bring that back as well.
absolutely true. And that is why I'm glad of the 10% you're actually doing. It is one of the things that really helps the nature, to be honest with you, Mr. Saro. So I want to thank you for the time, the opportunity you've
Oh,
given to me today. Thank you so much, Mr. Saro.
no, thank you. This was great. I had so much fun. I love the questions. I love thinking about this. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a bell going off. So maybe the time is perfect.
All right. So have a wonderful day, Mr. Saro. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye. Thank you.